What's up, Brew Crew? We're at Gentilly Brewing in Beverly, Massachusetts. We're gonna go talk to Paul, the owner, head brewer, and obviously drink some beers. What's up, guys? It's beer time. We're in Beverly, Massachusetts at Gentilly Brewery. I'm with Paul Gentilly, head brewer, and we know where the name came from. And we're doing something a little bit different today, which we have yet to do on Beer Time, which is we're gonna try some beers before they're done. Paul, why don't you take us into what we're sampling here right now?
Sure. So we have a new beer that we're coming out with on October 3rd, putting into cans that we call Divergent. It's our rotating IPA series. I hesitate to call it New England IPA because it doesn't hit those notes. It's more of a traditional American IPA. Okay. So this is iteration 19, so it's Divergent number 19. And this is the beer before it's been transferred. So it's been dry hopped already, so you're gonna get a lot of the aromas that are gonna be present, but it's not carbonated.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a little fizz to it because it's we've capped the tank. And we've
just
kept
naturally,
naturally kind of getting fizzy, but it's basically done fermenting, so that you're not going to get that
too much of the natural carbonation happening.
So we do that so that we don't explode beer out of the tank and have gigantic mess. So so this is going to get transferred next week and carbonated to be packaged. So this is Laurel.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah.
So you're going to get some of the aromas. And you're going to get the mouthfeel.
Yep.
And you're going to be able to sense that bitterness.
Yes.
So there's bitterness to this beer. A lot of New England IPAs don't have that bitterness.
Yeah.
They have that. It's smooth. It's not
more of a juicy finish.
Yeah, and it's not even malty either. A lot of the time.
Yeah, there's not even
there's the malt in there, but it's it's all on the
this
hops.
reminds me a little more West Coast style.
Yeah. Yeah, it harkens back to American IPAs as they started to evolve out of the West Coast.
Yeah.
Right, because we just packaged it a beer we call West Coast, which is our double IPA. Traditional, really big, really malty, but also really bitter with huge flavors of like the pine and the citrus. That is like the traditional West Coast IPA to me. This starts to take that and make it and changes it.
Yes.
Right, it's still bitter.
Yep.
And it's still but it's also
and you still get a little bit of that haze.
Yeah. And
now is that going to change? I mean, so we've never actually tried beers before they're done. What are you looking for, in this stage? Because you said you're gonna can this in about a week.
Right.
So like, what is it that you're looking for that kind of maybe, I don't know, any notes or something that you might say, oh, we got to wait another week, or oh, we got to can this now.
So one of the things that I try to do is make sure that the beer doesn't have that green taste, where you taste it and all you get is that hop and that hop burn. I've never liked that. I continue to not like that. So I wait for that to go away.
Okay.
And I think a lot of the reason you get that sensation is beers are packaged too early. And the idea is that the fresher is better. But in my opinion, if you give it a few more days and let everything kind of come together, you're going to be the beer will be in a better place. So I tasted this on, Friday? I tasted this Monday or Tuesday, and I had just dry hopped it the week before, towards the end of the week, and it was green. It was harsh.
Eating a field.
Yeah. And I'm like, I see where this is going.
Yeah.
Right? But
it needs more time.
It needs more time.
Yeah.
And so that's why we kind of build in that production time to get us to where I know the beer is going to be at its best.
For you viewers, the stuff that we are trying right now, when this video comes out, this stuff will be ready.
Will be out.
Yeah, by the time we're done editing and getting this out to you guys, these two beers.
Yeah, they'll be on our website for sale.
Ready to rock and roll.
During the pandemic, we built up our online store in order to sell beer. Via that mechanism, where traditionally in the past we were just having people come in the tap room.
Yeah,
and you'd sit down for a few beers, and then you'd buy some beer to go.
So how long have you guys been in operation?
So we opened the doors on March 4th at 4 o'clock in 2016.
Okay.
So we've been, what are we, four and a
Yeah.
half years at this point. We've been operating the tap room, and then
Okay.
we had our 4th anniversary party back in March.
Yeah,
and then the next
and then
weekend, we were done.
Yeah.
So we shut it all down, and we basically transitioned from draft beer to canned beer.
Yeah.
Basically
How was that
overnight.
transition?
It was actually pretty smooth for us. We were already planning. You can see our year-round beers up here on the table. We have these core 4 that we produce year-round, and we always had them on draft, and we were already planning to release them in cans this year. So we already had the labels designed. We already had the colors chosen. We were already moving through that process,
Okay.
and then the
Just
whole
kinda
world
put
got
the
turned
gas
upside
pedal
down. Yeah, and then we
down on
just
it.
floored it.
Yeah.
And we were like, all right, we're gonna do these. Let's get these printed. I've got this beer in tank. I've got this beer in tank. I've got this beer in tank. I can't sell them on draft. Let's can them.
Okay.
And we just started dumping beer
I
into
feel like
cans.
that's like, it is kind of true with that 4 to 5 year in for breweries, that it's like, okay, you know, we've now done our, you know, all our tests and stuff. We've got our core beers. Let's start expanding. Let's just start moving.
You know,
into
for
these,
us, we
distribution
have
areas.
a not even 50-person tap room,
Yeah.
right? And we're in this really cool old building from 1884.
Yeah.
You know, the walls are 16 inches thick brick.
Yeah.
Like, this thing's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Right? And we can't easily or properly expand within these walls. And we love this building. This building spoke to us. So my wife Kristen and I co-own the business. And we live in Beverly, and we would drive by here, after breakfast on a Saturday morning, and we'd swing, just cruising in the neighborhood, taking the drive as old people do, and we're like, man, that building is really cool. We should, not we, but it would be cool if there was a brewery there. Like, it has that look to it. It's just that old manufacturing building, that's brick, rounded windows. It's just a cool old building. And one thing led to another, and the building became available for rent.
And
So-
what was your background at the time in
So
brewing?
I'd been working at Ipswich Ale
Okay.
for, well, I ended up working there 7 years. So I started there in 2008, and I worked on the packaging line. I started out case packing, putting bottles in boxes, taping them, stacking them, moving them. Learned how to wash kegs, learned how to clean tanks, learned how to run the glass table and the label machine and the filler. And so I kind of learned all of the little nuts and bolts of the brewery. And then I was able to convince them to let me brew. I came with no experience.
Yeah.
Right. I was home brewing.
Yep.
And, I was just messing around. And I really liked beer. And it kind of became an option. It's like, wow, I could actually maybe do this for a living. And I was teaching at the time. And I took my birthday off from teaching to go interview at Ipswich. And I remember he became a good friend of mine, the head brewer at the time, Dan Lipke, who's now the head brewer for Clown Shoes,
Okay.
tied to Harpoon. He said something to the effect of, "You're probably not going to like it. I wouldn't be surprised if you didn't show up for your first day of work." And I was like, wow. Like, because he was just like, look, people, this brewing brings people in and churns them up and spits them out.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, I've seen it 100 times. Just want to let you know, just very well possible. Don't get too excited about this, because this is brutal. This is brutal stuff. So then I took a day off of my teaching job and went up to work. I actually worked the packaging line on my day off.
Yeah.
And I loved it. I absolutely loved it, right? We were like, well, we could call it, Garden City Brewing Company, because Beverly, one of their nicknames is the Garden City, right? And then we were going through, it's fine, doesn't really fit. And then it's just and it's this whole thing that comes around with what you name your brewery, and then how the beers play off of that name,
Yeah.
right? And I'm just like, can we just
Yeah,
call it
let's just call
Gentilly? Is that? And it gets back
Yeah.
to us. It got back to. So my wife's family is from Wisconsin, so big brewing tradition there, and
Yep.
everything was just named after the family.
Yep.
Miller, Pabst,
Yep.
right? That's just
Yeah.
what they did.
Yeah, they
right?
do,
They
yeah.
just called it what it was.
Cool.
And who they were. And so when we when we finally got there, we were like, let's just call it Gentili.
Keep it
Like,
simple.
and my family is Italian. Italians just name things after themselves, right? Like that's just call it that.
That's Ma spaghetti.
Right.
Or Ma sauce.
the end.
Sunday gravy.
The end, right? So it's just like, let's just call it Gentili, and let's just call the beers what they are. We even had names for the beers. Like we were gonna do Park Street Porter, because we're on Park Street.
Yeah.
Right? We were gonna do, Ryleside Stout, because we live in Ryleside.
Yeah.
A little neighborhood in Beverly. Right? So it's like we had all these like kitschy things that we were gonna do, and we just took them and just threw them out. So this, it's in a Pyrex. This is what I use to take samples when I'm checking whether or not the beer has finished its fermentation and where it is in its fermentation. These two vessels are actually what I use. So you're seeing it here. So this is our squash porter. It is brewed with local butternut squash that was grown up in South Hamilton at Meadowbrook Farms. 90 pounds over the course of 3 batches, so about 30 pounds per batch, all graded by yours truly, and mixed in with the grain during the mash-in. So the grain carries the enzymes that helps convert the sugars to make them accessible for the yeast in the fermenting process.
I love the nose on that.
Yeah, so it's got your fall spices that we just kind of blend on our own. So we use cinnamon and nutmeg and allspice and whole cloves. So the first 3 are ground, and then the fourth one is the whole clove. So we try to balance it so it's not.
That's great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I actually made it for the first time as a home brew with one of my mother's butternut squash that she had grown. She had a bumper crop. She had squash coming out of her ears. So I was like, I'll make a beer out of this.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to do something a little bit off. I was like, let me try it.
It's crazy because it's like squash porter. That makes so much sense. Like, but why hasn't anyone really been messing with it? You know what I mean? Like,
So some people make a pumpkin porter.
I mean, when you think fall, here
Right.
comes the pumpkin.
Right.
You know what I mean? Here
Right.
comes that flavor.
But-
it's like squash,
Yeah.
acorn. You know what I mean? Like,
one of the things I've learned is a lot of the pumpkin puree that's sold is actually squash because it's easier to process.
okay.
So when I was coming up with this recipe, I was like, I'm just going to use squash. I know
yeah.
that it grows in this area very well.
Yeah.
And I might as well use something local that I can source without having to, go crazy trying to find it. So we put grated squash in with the mash, and then we spice it. And it's a dark beer. A lot of pumpkin beers are light. They accentuate the spices.
Yep.
I wanted to balance the spices
Which is
with
that's
the
what I
malt.
was gonna say, because what's really nice about this is the spices come first, and then the butternut kind of finishes it, and it like kind of just smooths it off.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah,
is like
you're hit with
that's
the
like
aroma.
fantastic.
Thank you. You're hit with the aroma of those spices, and then you get the malt, and then you finish with this like squashiness.
Yeah, it's
Right?
like
You're
it's like that. Yeah, that,
weird.
That,
Cool. All
yeah,
right.
yeah, and then it's just
And then
that's what it ends with.
And that's it. So
that's really nice.
So both the Divergent and the Squash Porter are getting canned. So this will go in cans as well. And
I'll definitely be coming to pick that
and
up.
it's just like it's just a nice beer, And all these beers, just the Divergent is right around 6%. I've got to do the math on it, but it's right around 6%, and the Squash is just under that. So all these are available on the website, gentilibrewing.com/store if you want to be specific, but you can get into all of that. We write a blog monthly to let you know what food trucks and what events we have coming up, which is now a requirement.
Yeah.
We have to have food here so that you can figure out maybe if you wanted to plan a trip when you wanted to come. And then eventually we will shut down the dock because it's going to be too cold. And we'll do some special events over the course of the winter to kind of have some fun, get out of the house. They'll probably be ticketed so that we can manage our crowd flow a little bit better and not have people standing in the cold on a winter day. So keep that in mind if that's something you'd be interested in. Follow us on social media and all the things. It's all Gentili Brewing
Well, Paul,
So
thanks for having me.
you're very welcome. Cheers.
This is great. Trying
Thanks for
these
being here.
beers before
Appreciate
they're
it.
done.
Yeah, it's kind of fun, right?
And yeah,
It's
it's
just-
great.
it's
It's very different. It's something I haven't done yet before. So,
But so then,
I'm definitely
imagine
gonna be
all
coming
these-
back for this.
Imagine all these with carbonation
Yeah,
and how those aromas.
yeah, and how that's gonna like
flavors
hit your
are gonna-
palate
right,
and,
how
and
it's gonna
things like
pop.
that. Which
right.
is yeah,
and that's
a-
what we look for.
Okay.
When we're putting beers through production is this is what it tastes like now. What's it going to taste like then? And if you can get there, you're like, yeah, that's going to be good.
Yeah.
So this is going to be good.
Yeah, this is gonna be good.
Cheers.
Cheers. Thanks, guys. Have a good one. See you next time on Beer Time.